Hi, I'm literally making my notes for what I want to tell you right now. This is the most off the cuff you're going to get me this week. If you're joining, please say hello. If you're live, if you're watching the replay, also say hi. I'd love to say hi to you and answer your questions if you have them. This is day 3 of Wild Abundance in Business, and today I'm going to tell you my story and give you all the behind the scenes juice I possibly can so that you can borrow my evidence as your faith that you get to have a business that you love, that lights you up, that sets your soul on fire and helps other people, that makes you money and helps other people, right? So, today I'm going to talk with you about going from making $395 in my business to making six figures the year that it didn't make sense, which was 2021. I was pregnant. I gave birth to a tiny human, Rowan. I took a month off in my business, and that is the year I made $135,000 in my business. Ridiculous. Didn't make sense. So, I'm going to give you all the behind the scenes and some key takeaways so that you can do this for yourself with or without paying me for business coaching. But I highly recommend you do because I can support you through the stuff that comes up. You can succeed without paying anybody for business coaching. 100% hands down believe that. But it can feel better if you get support. Say hi if you're joining. I'd love to know who's here. I want to say hi back. And I'm going to get started. I forgot to get myself a drink, so we're just going to rock and roll and do it messy this morning. So, hello, hello. Good morning. My name is Emily Otto. Rebel Incorporated, if you're joining, if this is the first time you're watching the live stream. And the biggest reason to hop in a coaching container with me, with anybody, with somebody who can help hold you accountable is because it's way more fun. And you have someone besides just you looking at your business, getting their hands, their eyes, their ears, their heart on your business. Because even the free homework, nobody's done it yet, right? 50 ways your work is highly valuable and worthy of massive compensation. Nobody's taken me up on that. And I'm even giving away a $99 bundle for doing it. So that tells me, and I know this to be true, it's hard. Building an authentic online healing arts business can be really freaking hard. But that's why you get to be supported, whether it's in CEO Enchantress with me or the Rebel Mastermind, which officially opens today for enrollment. 7 spots are already gone. I only had 20. So do the math. That's not very many more left. We start April 10th. If you're like, okay, Emily, that's it. I got to know more, but I don't want to bother reading your sales page, send me a DM. We can voice memo. We can chat about it. Let's talk. Yay, Christine. Oh my goodness, you're amazing. Thank you for making it. Wow, I'm so glad you're here. Feel free to ask questions at any time, both Christine and anybody else who's watching or catching the replay. So, I wanted to give you my story as proof, as faith that this gets to be possible for you too. Like, I am not a rainbow colored unicorn, and yet again, we all are, right? We all have things that make us unique. You have a life story that nobody else has. You know things. You've gone and it through and experienced things that nobody else on the planet has. And it's that accumulation, that lens, that looking out through your unique eyes that is so important. Your unique experience, your unique skills and talents are needed. You have a desire to have a profitable, purpose driven business that helps other people for a reason. I just don't believe that God, Goddess, the universe gave you this desire to be like, well, good luck getting that. Hope you just enjoy being frustrated for your life. I don't believe in that. I believe you have the desire for a reason, and I want to help you make it reality. So, I was in corporate America for 15 years. I was a recruiter, an HR manager. I started at the Yankee Candle Company and ended my career at IBM. I was making six figures as a technical recruiter working from home on my laptop, and I still hated it. There were good things about every job I ever had and terrible things. I got into human resources because it was the beginning of the recession when I graduated from the University of Chicago with my master's degree in psychology. And I thought, okay, I'll get a job. I can do this. I want to work at a nonprofit and help people. And I was living in Western Massachusetts, and everybody was overqualified and willing to work for pennies. And I had $60,000 of student loan debt to pay off. So I took an HR position as the HR assistant for it's a temp opportunity for the Yankee Candle Company. I also worked their customer service desk. I firmly believe that everybody on this planet should work either customer service or hospitality, because you will never, ever, ever take people for granted again, right? Very important. And I hated it. I hated it. There was filing paperwork, what I thought I was doing to help people. HR really just becomes the police dog, the watchman of a corporation. And that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to help people. So I fought my managers, I fought my supervisors, I fought my CEO when I worked at a construction company as the first HR person ever. Literally had to tell him that it wasn't okay to tell women they had to wear skirts and tights to work. And I fought for people's rights every step of the way. And I got sick of fighting, right? I got sick of fighting. And so I kept searching for something else. There has to be something more for me. I became a certified yoga teacher. I studied and trained in all these healing arts, but I knew none of them was the right thing. It wasn't the thing. And I worked with mentors and apprenticed with teachers who made a good living doing these different healing arts. I thought about becoming an acupuncturist. I applied and got accepted to go to acupuncture school. I decided against that. I thought about maybe being a therapist. Half of my clients, when I first started my business, were professional therapists that wanted out because the system is so crazy and charging insurance is so exhausting and intense for them, all the paperwork they have to file. And so I knew that wasn't the right route. I thought about being a massage therapist, but that also has a high burnout rate. Most massage therapists, if that's their main gig, they're only in it for 5 years at the most because it's exhausting and draining. So I thought, what the hell do I do if I don't do this job? And that was one of the first webinars I ever made for people in Wisdom School in Golden Lake, Ontario, and studying with Stephen Jenkinson on elderhood, grief, death, and dying. Because my friend Ian McKenzie made this video, and a woman in the video said, I just had this constant underlying sense that it doesn't have to be this way. And I thought, that, I feel that in my soul. I feel that in my body. But what do you do with that sensation that the world doesn't have to be this way, that work doesn't have to be this way, when you still have a mortgage or rent to pay and food to put in your fridge, right? What do you do as a healer? You make the system work for you. You make the money, don't let the money make you, right? So I kept that as my anthem. And I thought, I'm going to let this job support me. I'm going to, and put an end date on it. And man, I wanted to quit for years. It was probably 5 years into my corporate career, and I wanted out. And I spent another 10 in it because I didn't know what else to do. And it was this sacred golden cow, right? Golden handcuffs, if you've heard of that, of like, it has health insurance, it pays my bills, it pays for my house. What do I do? And I pattern in so many limiting beliefs. Well, this is the most money I'll ever make because if I quit my job, I'm never going to be able to make as much money on my running my own business or doing healing arts. That's just not a thing. Hippies can't make money, right? And so I studied with Stephen Jenkinson and started meeting people that were doing life differently, that were choosing to craft their purpose, craft their meaning out of life, and build their own businesses. And I met my first marketing mentor, my first quote unquote business coach, Tad Hargrave of Marketing for Hippies. And I started with working with him just after my son Cedar was born. And Cedar, we had planned on a home birth, and after 3 days of labor, went into the hospital, and he was born there really easily. But when we were about to be discharged, his oxygen was critically low, and we were rushed to the NICU, something no parent ever wants to experience or hear. And we spent 3 days at the Pediatric Heart Hospital, Mott Children's Hospital here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we learned that he had a very unique heart, less than 0.01% of the world. It was called a double outlet right atrium with an AVSD. So there was a hole between the two sides of his heart, And then he had another hole at the top. And actually, his mitral valve has 7 flaps on it instead of 3. And that was really revelatory for me. It put all of my training in resilience and grief and death and elderhood into practice. And it made me realize I don't want to spend another minute doing work I don't love. I don't want to spend another moment on this planet doing something that doesn't matter, right? Now, dishes have to be done. Cleaning has to be done. Those things matter, though. How can I bring attention and intention to them? And Cedar had his first open heart surgery when he was 1 month old. And I will never forget signing the paperwork with the surgeon and the surgeon saying, like, you have to sign off on paperwork that your son may die during this procedure. And I looked at him and said, but if you don't do it, he will, right? And he said, likely. Cool. Here's my signature. And he said, I'll take care of your son as if he were my own. And I said, great, go for it. Do what needs to be done. And Cedar had one open heart surgery. They literally had to stop his heart, put him on an iron lung machine, cut into his chest, cut into his heart, stitch pieces back together at 1 month old, and again at 4 months. And they disrupted the electrical circulation in his heart, and he had to have a pacemaker at 6 months. And I actually brought my teacher here at that 6 month mark to do, he was doing a tour on grief and death and dying, Stephen Jenkinson and his band. And he was here the day before my son went into surgery for his pacemaker. And I orchestrated that event, and it was held in Ypsilanti. And we had a couple hundred people attend. It was magnificent. And I was standing on the loading dock with my teacher and telling him about this story and about being with Cedar and with the grief and the celebration of life and just trusting that the next steps for me were going to be important. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what business I was going to start, but I knew I was done with corporate America. I had paid off my $60,000 of student loans. I had my son. I had my life. And I had this drive, this sense of purpose, this sense that it didn't have to be this way. And so I started working with Tad Hargrave, and started crafting my work in the world because I realized I don't need more training. I don't need another damn certification. Can you relate? I bet you, like me, might have trained in a lot of things or have a lot of skills and experience or perhaps lots of certifications. And there's this sense that, like, someone's going to tell you, ah, yes, now you're ready. No one's coming to tell you that. We have to decide. Yes, I have something to help people with. Yes, I have something to teach. Yes, I can charge for it right here and right now and help someone. And then we move forward and craft a business out of it. So I worked with Tad and started to get my language around who the hell am I working with and why does it matter? I took his niching spiral program 3 times and worked with him for about 9 months. I have 45 pages of a book that's yet to be published about quitting corporate America and doing work you love. I have an evergreen program called Make a Plan. You can still buy it today that helps people figure out how to quit their job and what the heck are they going to do and what business to start. And as I started doing that in the world, I started charging $25 for a webinar, hosting free calls. I went to every in-person networking event that I could. This was pre-COVID. I did a lot of online networking. I asked my friends, how the hell did you start your business and make it financially successful? I just wanted proof. I needed proof. And they told me, person after person, story after story. And guess what? All of their stories were unique. There was no magic formula for starting a business and making money. I really wanted there to be a magic formula. But each story was unique, and each story emboldened me to finally quit. And my sweet husband pushed me, and we reduced all of our living expenses. And we built 6 months of savings. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to quit my corporate day job right before Burning Man. And I did. And we went to Burning Man. It was my fourth time, his first. And I came back and I went to Edmonton, Canada to have an in person retreat with Tad. And I developed my work deeper and deeper. And that's the first thing that I did. I helped people quit their 9 to 5 and start their business. But I realized I really cared about healing arts people and service-based business owners. I don't care to help someone who's starting like a sneakers business unless they're healing sneakers, right? So I started refining my languaging and my packages and programs. I charge $25 for a 60-minute phone call, $50 for a 60-minute phone call. And I started doing webinars for other people's audiences. So I always write this piece down. I always tell my clients, have two parts to your reach strategy, to your marketing strategy. One, organic social. But organic social media can feel like shouting into the void. Is anyone hearing me? The other piece, borrow other people's audiences. Get in front of other people's groups, whether that's friends that you do a Facebook Live with, other people's podcasts. Is it getting in front of other people's newsletters, asking them to share about your work to their 10,000 person email newsletter? Both of these approaches will get you somewhere, right? Because if we just do one or the other, it can feel very arduous and frustrating. There's so many ways to make money, so many ways to build a business, but you have to feel like you're getting somewhere. So making a checklist, checking it off, figuring out what am I doing? And I just kept taking business training after business training, trying to figure it the F out. I invested in a 12-week business coaching program. It was $6,000 for 12 weeks. It stretched me. I took two side gigs while I was building my business so I could pay for daycare for Cedar and invest in this business coaching. My payments were $500 a month for a year. And that's why I do extended payment plans because it was what made it accessible for me to learn the skills that I needed. And I showed up for that program. I attended everything. I squeezed the juice out of it. But it was so hyper focused on writing and content and copy, which is why I'm a badass copywriter and teach that to my clients. But it was too much. We spent half the program working on our websites. When you use organic social media, you get to do it messy and you get to layer your messaging. You get to weave all the threads in. And that's what I love about organic social and consistency and your content and your energy and showing up. You don't have to have the A plus perfect website. You get to show up in your messaging and marketing again and again and again and build the case, build the evidence for why people need to work with you, why your program is important and going to help them, and let them have the opportunity to read, to absorb, to interact, to learn your stuff, and to trust that you will show up for them authentically. The best compliment I ever get from my clients is that I show up exactly the same as I do in these videos. It's who I am. I get to be vulnerable and authentic, and I love it. So it gets to be you too, and you get to show up exactly as you are, and it gets to work for you. You don't have to be super fancy. You don't have to be super unfancy. You get to be you all the time. So, how did I go from 395 to making six figures? I doubled down on what was working. Getting in front of other people's audiences was a game changer for me. And then I would offer a $25 webinar and like a 20-minute free one-on-one call. And I would get on the phone with people and I would really help them with what they were going through and ask and make the invitation. Do you want to work with me further? Here's what an intensive looks like. Here's what 30 days of coaching looks like. Here's what, my next program is. And I would sell about 60% of people into a longer term container with me. And I scaled it. I started charging $147 a month for one on one coaching. Today, right now, I have one spot open. One on one coaching is $2,000 a month with me. But I stair stepped that. I did not hit the gate and be like, well, I want 10K months. I guess I charge $1,000 to 10 people, and there you go. No, I had to build proof that I had something that helped other people and it worked, and it does. And I had to have faith in myself, and people had to have faith in me, right? And get results and feedback. So I layered that and built it over time. This is the third year of my business. And it's amazing to see what I've built. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of my clients. I have 40 people in CEO Enchantress. I have a sold out mastermind and sold out one on one coaching. I'm about to hit the next round of the mastermind. It is open today. 7 spots are sold. There's only 20 total. And most of what it took to get here was doubling down on what's working and was being supported through the process, right? Because I could have figured this out on my own, but it's so much more clunky without the support, especially without peers, without sisterhood, without other people being like, oh, yeah, I felt that. I've done that. I've seen that. I've been there. And echoing and sharing your brilliance back to yourself. And that's what I love about my mastermind program and being in a mastermind is that you're not in it alone. So often, as entrepreneurs, especially working from home, especially doing all the unique healing arts that we're doing, it's lonely, but you don't have to be alone. I did one on one coaching with a coach for about a year, and it was awesome. And it challenged and stretched me in ways that I didn't know were possible. I knew I needed to work with a business coach because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I trusted my intuition enough to do that. And then I knew I wanted to be in a mastermind full of like minded peers that wanted to scale, wanted to build their business. Ah, thanks, Angela. Hi, Angela. Angela says your mastermind was so helpful the past 6 months. And I'm so excited to keep working with you too. And you get to invest in support. You get to figure out how to build a business in a way that works for you. And the really frustrating and really beautiful thing is that your strategy is going to be different from everybody else's. But that's why I think it's so important in the beginning of your business to pivot quickly, to try different things, to know what different things you could try. And then consistent income means long-term stacking payment plans. Whether that's selling a 3-month program for 1,500 and making an extended payment plan, or selling a lower ticket offer to more people over time. There's so many different ways to build it and pattern it. And that's what I get to help my clients with, mostly in the mastermind. CEO Enchantress will go into the consistent income, but the Rebel Mastermind is where it's at. And you guys, I want you to know I've sold 7 spots in 2 days. The first time I launched this program, it took me 3 months to sell it out. This time last year, 3 months. I felt like I was beating my head into the wall. And I learn, and you get to learn and scale quickly. But I think having the support to do that really is a game changer. The first time I tried to sell my mastermind, I launched it as a small group coaching program in December of last year. I had no one sign up. I had crickets. Some of you have heard me tell this story before. Total crickets. No one signed up. I called it Brave, Wild, and Free Group Coaching. Does anybody remember that? Did anybody see the marketing? And I thought it was so fire. Crickets. No one was interested. And I could have been like, oh, I guess there goes my business. I guess I'm not selling that. I guess it was a flop in a program that no one wanted. I doubled down. I doubled down on it and said, I know what makes a difference for my clients. I know that what they need is this program. I know that what they need is part one on one coaching, a Facebook group coaching, like minded peers. And I said, okay, I'm going to double down on it. I'm going to double down. And I waited a month and I relaunched it as the Rebel Mastermind. And it took me 3 months to sell it out. I sold it out at 10 spots. The first 3 people who hopped in were amazing. And it was such a struggle bus to sell. It was such a struggle bus, you guys. And I sold it as a year-long coaching program because I knew that what happens with business owners is you invest in all of these courses and you're gonna do them and you show up for part of it, but then your motivation fizzles out, or you can't attend the live calls, or you get stuck somewhere and there isn't a coach there to say, hey, are you showing up? Hey, you said you wanted this, let's go. And I knew that the game changer was a high level, like minded peer coaching program. And I knew that the Rebel Mastermind was going to move the needle. And so I relaunched it and I invited people in, and it's been amazing. It's been a transformation for me as a coach and for my amazing mastermind members over the last year. And then I sold another 10 spots in October and decided, you know what? I don't want to make this a rolling container. It's so much more nourishing to the experience to have a start and a close. And this program is for folks who identify as women only, because what comes up for women is so different than what comes up for most men experiencing in business. My sweet husband, bless his heart, has a construction company he owns and runs with his uncle. He doesn't have a witch wound. He doesn't have a sisterhood wound. He's not afraid to get visible. Those things come for women. And what also comes up is, how do I charge this much for healing services? How do I be okay with that? How do I even feel okay desiring a business, desiring money, desiring clients, right? Which is why I've been doing this program in Wild Abundance. You get to have whatever you want. But trusting that we get to have what we want, and then building the business container to support that, and then inviting the clients in, and then receiving $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. There's so many mind kerfluffles that come up along the way. And having a business coach, having me to support you in that, is a game changer. And that's why I'm launching the Rebel Mastermind for round 3. We start April 10th, and I'm going to tell you all about it and catch up on these comments. Yeah, Angela, she said she saw the marketing but wasn't ready, right? It happens. But if you're watching me now and you've been tuning in and you've been like, I want to work with Emily someday, today is that day. Today is that day, because this is the most impactful I have ever made the mastermind and the most juice. And 2022 gets to be your year. I can take you from 0 to 6 figures. You can take you from 0 to 6 figures, but it's in the action, in the investment of time and energy and attention that you have to give. And me working and coaching alongside you, and you being in a group and held in a sisterhood container, that's going to change everything and give you the foundation. I'm a big fan, and what I do in my work is giving people the foundation to build a business that's going to sustain you for the next 50 years and allow you to pivot and make changes. So if you decide to change your business, great. I'm still going to teach you how to sell, how to write content that resonates with your people, how to talk about your niche, how to hold yourself through the fire, how to build a business with pleasure and ease and joy. Because sure, you can hustle your way to 7 figures, but who wants to quit their corporate job for that? No thanks. Robin's healing. I relate to that. I'm learning more about my quality people over quantity at the current moment. That's awesome. Yeah. So the next round of the Rebel Mastermind is now open. And this is me inviting you to join in. It is 3 Zoom video coaching calls a month. I have 2 different pods open for 10 people each. 7 spots have been claimed. It's either 9 a.m. on Tuesdays or 3 p.m. on Wednesdays. You'll have a Facebook group where you can comment, post, go live at any time and get feedback both from me and my support coach, Michelle Burns. Michelle is a one-on-one client of mine. We've been working together for about a year now, and she was in the mastermind last round. She helps entrepreneurs with tech systems, goal setting, strategy, and support. And she is going to help in the Facebook group and be the person that you get a one on one 30-minute coaching session with every month. Also, I don't have this announced anywhere, but you are also getting a embodiment sacred intimacy container once a month with an amazing teacher that I'm not going to tell you fully about yet. I also have guest speakers coming in to teach you on skills related to business, feminine finance, and ancestral healing, bodies and business sovereignty, and sex, guts, and relationships, and how that relates to your business. You'll also get access to my Rebel Mastermind Vault full of different tools, scheduling, how to do email opt-ins, how to do email sequencing, how to track your clients and potential client leads, how to, God, what else is in there? How to build systems that are going to work for you and process. It's ridiculous. All the techie bits and pieces that you're like, how do I do this? Those are in the Rebel Mastermind Vault. You'll also get access to 50% off all of my programs when I run them live, as long as you're in the mastermind container. And that's CEO Enchantress, which is happening right now. And then this is the first time I'm saying it out loud. Sacred Sales Priestess is coming in May. So you'd have 50% off of that container as well. The investment for this program is $1,000 a month. I also have an extended payment plan of $500 a month for 12 months. Get at me, send me a DM. I'm going to drop you the sales page as well. But happy to hop on a call if you'd like to talk about the program further or do voice memos in the DMs. And I'm stoked. This is my most impactful program. This is the most one on one attention you'll get from me outside of investing in one on one coaching. And I am so excited to bring this next round of Rebel Mastermind. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Angela. So excited. Me too. If you haven't already done the homework, this is your invitation. 50 ways your work is highly valuable and worthy of massive compensation. The reason you're resistant to doing this homework is because it's hard, is because articulating the value in your work is exactly what's going to be the game changer for people to buy and invest in your work. If you're finding this piece hard, DM me, post in this group, and hop into the mastermind so I can help you nail your offers, your marketing, and your messaging to make more money and help more people. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm all about. And thank you for being here. Bye.